Hi, I'm Luke from Korg, and today I'm showing you the Volca Sample. This is our sample playback sequencer where you can bring in your own samples or use the samples on board. So let's dive in and have a listen. So the way it works is you trigger the samples via this ribbon controller. So I've got my kick drum there, for example, and it comes preloaded with 150 different samples, and they're all grouped. So as you can hear, I'm scrolling through a load there. You've got all your drum sounds, but you've also got sound effects and then some more melodic effects and sounds as well, which is brilliant. So let's go back to our original kick drum there. So there we go, sample 0, which is the first one. And then you've actually got 10 different parts, so you can have 10 different samples loaded in at once to sequence within one pattern, if you like. So here we go. We've got snare, we've got claps, we've got hi-hats, but again we've got some more kind of melodic bass sounds as well. So to control those or edit them, I suppose, you use this matrix here, and you've already seen me using the sample, the black one there. That's to change the actual sound, but once you've got the sound you want, you can change things like the level, so the volume of it. You can pan it left and right because this is a fully stereo sample. So every single sample of the 10 can have its own pan position, which is really cool. And then you've got this, the rest of the matrix here. You're doing things like filtering, so you can take the high end off. You can change the length of the sample, make it short and snappy, or full length. And you can change the envelope of it as well. So you can soften up the attack or change the decay. And you can change what we call the speed, which is effectively the pitch. It's the speed that it's playing back the sample, but that by default changes the pitch. So you have a lot of control over every individual sample within your pattern there. And then once you're happy with the kind of sound you want to use, you can start making a pattern, and that's where being in this Volca format really comes into its own. So let's clear the pattern that's in there. And let's go into step mode. There's two modes. There's live mode, which I was in to play live, but also step mode, so you can just step your pattern in really easily. So let's put a couple of kick drum parts in. So we've got our kick pattern. Then we can part along to the snare part. Part along maybe to our claps and put one on the fourth beat there. But we've also got live mode, so we can record that way as well just by pressing record. And now we're live recording. So if we want to put the hi-hat pattern in, for example, we can do that. Take it out of record. We've also got swing built in, which is really handy, so we can give the pattern a bit more feel if we want to. More of a dotted feel in this case. Give it a bit more bounce. And I mentioned we've got melodic sounds as well. So we've got things like that, a little Rhodes sound as well. So let's record those in. And maybe the Rhodes part. What's really good though is you can record automation per part and per step. So per step is brilliant. So for this little Rhodes part I've put in here, say on this step here I wanted that to be a different pitch or a different speed, all I need to do is just hold that down and then turn the speed to what I want it to be on that step, and I'll change it. So it goes from there, up, and then back down. You've also got the ability to motion record as well, or motion sequence. It's like automation effectively, and you can do that per part on any of these parameters. So say for instance on that hi-hat pattern there, now if I wanted to record some automation in live, all I need to do is hit record, turn on motion sequence, and then start performing using these controls. And you'll hear that that's doing that little dip in the hi-hat pattern because I've put a little filter on it, and it's lit up there when it's playing back to tell me I've done that. Other things you have on the Volca Sample, things like reverb, really useful. So I can turn on reverb, for instance, on specific parts. So if I wanted to put it on the snare drum there, I can turn on some reverb and then adjust the send. But other parts are dry. So I wanted to put it on the claps as well. I just turn it on and then it's on the claps as well. And I can set the overall mix there. You can also reverse samples as well. So if I go into reverse, again I can reverse the snare. Turn that off. Dead easy to do that. And you have this really neat analog isolator effect which will be over the whole pattern. So that allows you to filter out individual frequencies and kind of sculpt the overall sound. So you get this sort of effect. So you can take the bottom out of it completely, enhance the treble, bring the bass up a bit maybe. So that's really nice to get that really heavily used overall filtering on your whole pattern, which is cool. So once you're happy with your pattern, you can save it really easily. You just hold down function, press memory, and you can save it into any of these 16 locations. And they can easily be recalled as well, even whilst it's playing. So you can hold down memory and then bring back something else. And it'll all run at this central tempo, which of course you can change, and it tells you the BPM there on the screen as well. Right then, so as you can see, I've brought in some extra equipment here to show you some of the connections. The first one I want to show you is the MIDI input. So as you can see, we're going MIDI in here. I've got it connected to this Nano Pad 2, but it could be any MIDI controller, whether that's a keyboard controller or a pad controller like this. And I'm using a MIDI USB host to convert it from USB to MIDI. What that means now is that I can control the Volca Sample from here. I can play the sounds from the pads, which is a great way to perform with the Volca Sample. But because I've got an XY controller here, I can actually start manipulating the sounds as well. So for instance, this sound here, say I wanted that to be a snare drum, I can then start filtering it. I can even, on the Y-axis there, start adding some reverb. So it's a great way to kind of feel your way through the sounds to get that sweet spot that you want, and then off you go. We've also got sync in and out on the Volca Sample, so that allows you to get the timing in sync with other bits of gear. For instance, another Volca or other bits of Korg gear. You actually get a sync cable included as well, which is really useful. So these two here at the moment, they're playing different tempos. Let's select one of these patterns. So we've got that pattern here, and this pattern on the Volca bass. As you can see, that's going really quick. Let's plug in sync out into sync in, and now they're completely in synchronization. So there's your tempo. If I want to change the tempo, this is acting as the master, so I can just turn that and it tells me the BPM on the screen, and then the Volca bass there is following perfectly. If you want to, you can daisy chain these connections as well. So what that means is I can go out of my bass into something else, and the chain will keep following that initial tempo set from the master. We've also got USB built in, so I'm now going to bring in my computer and show you how that works. Okay, so I've brought my computer in and it's connected via USB there, as you can see. I want to show you this Volca Sample Librarian, which is a free download for PC or Mac. What it allows you to do is preview all of your different patterns, so you could actually be playing them here. You can change them from the software. And it also shows you what sample you've got on each of the 10 parts, which is really useful. And even cooler, if you go into the Samples tab there, you can actually preview the samples directly from your computer as well and hear them that way. And of course that's the way that you get your own samples in there into your own patterns to start making music with the sounds you want. Other connections we've got on here, we've got an audio output, of course. So we've got a mini jack, so we're just connecting our sound system via this mini jack here, but you can also plug headphones into there if you want to. If you unplug that completely, the sound will default to coming out of the speaker, which is underneath, which is really handy if you're on the move and you just want to use it anywhere. Power wise, we're actually powering it from the batteries that come included, but you can use an optional power supply. That's a KA350 in the UK, or you can use a Volca mix there, and that'll power up to 3 Volcas simultaneously. So there we go. That's the Volca Sample. Go and check it out.